Good morning and welcome to Brentwood Beauty Buzz. My name is Caroline Alexander and I am the manager here at Advanced Skincare in Brentwood. I am joined today by our providers. We have with us Miss Maya Z, she's our medical esthetician.
Hello.
Lucy B, she's our physician's assistant. Hello. And our special guest star today is Dr. Norman Leaf, plastic surgeon.
Yay!
Good morning. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, it's
today.
my pleasure to be here. You know, I've been watching this on my screens when you've done it in the past few weeks, and I'm glad to be here now.
Good, I'm so happy. And we've got a wonderful slideshow for you today. Today's show is all about facelifts. So Dr. Leaf is going to do the introduction for us today. Dr. Iman will not be joining us today. We'll see her next week, but for now, I'm going to let you take the stage, Dr. Leaf.
Thank you, Caroline. I am the invasive part of this whole clinic. Everything else around here was what we call non-invasive. But I'm a surgeon. I'm a plastic surgeon, a board-certified plastic surgeon. I've been doing this for a long time, and I'm very experienced with facelifts, which is what I particularly enjoy doing. So today I want to tell you a little bit about the facelifts, how they work, what the purpose of them is, and the differences between them. So I've created a little slideshow here. So if you want to look at the screens over here, this is the evolving facelift because it has changed a lot since I started out a long time ago. There's always a few options, and everything has to be tailored to the individual patient. First of all, we have to decide, are we going to do just a lift, or are we going to fill as well, or are we going to just fill? Because fat grafting is becoming hugely important because people who have aging skin and faces, they don't just sag, they have loss of fullness, and we have to restore that many times. And then the type of incision, it varies depending on what kind of aging situation we see. If they have a long jowl here that's hanging down, or if they have a lot of cords in the neck, those are two different things, and we have to address each one of them. And then the deep tissue is really important because the skin is essentially just the doorway to the deep tissues. And that's where we do the real lifting, is the deep tissue. Sometimes we use what's called a SMAS lift, S-M-A-S, which stands for subcutaneous musculoepineuritic system. You don't need to know that, there's no tests on this. And, but that's the deep layer, which is the muscle, the fascia, and the fat. And then there's the max lift, which does not lift the SMAS, so specifically it tightens it up by some looping stitches. And then finally, what do we do with the skin afterwards? Is it adequate to leave it alone, or do we need to, you know, kind of like frost the cake by doing laser on the skin as well? So I'm going to show you a few pictures of some patients who have all agreed to let me show their pictures to people. This is a lovely woman who is in her early 50s, and on the left you can see her before pictures, and on the right you can see the after. She had a brow lift, a face lift, a neck lift, upper and lower lids, and I did plump up her lips with some of that SMAS. Remember that SMAS is that deep layer. And when I lift and trim it, instead of throwing away those trimmings, they make a great graft to put in the lips, and it lasts a lot longer than any other filler we could use. And here she is, but consistency and longevity is important because the next picture, this is her 15 years later.
Wow.
So she still looks pretty darn good.
She looks amazing.
Thanks. And then here's a 62-year-old woman, and I did a similar procedure on her. And here is her after pictures.
Oh, that's a good after picture.
I'm only going to show you the good ones, you know.
I mean, this is an amazing before and after.
Yeah, okay, and here's another good one. Facelift, also a brow lift, and upper and lower eyelids. And these are long-term follow-ups. This is a 6-month picture. The last one was, I think, a year post-op, because I want to show you how long it lasts. And typically, we think it lasts about 12 to 14 years. The only way we have of knowing how long it lasts really is if a patient comes back and wants to do it again. And that's what I say, oh, that's 12 to 14 years usually. Not always, and some people who are, you know, in the movie industry or TV industry really need to look good, and they need smaller procedures more frequently. She had an interesting situation because she had like prominent eyes, a little buggy looking on the left, and I had to work with those to avoid making that worse, and I think she looks really...
Now, would you recommend patients, let's say they come in, instead of doing like another facelift, maintain the results with laser treatments in between?
Laser treatments and fillers.
And fillers?
Absolutely, yeah. Because, you know, there's so many more things available now than there were when I started out doing this. Fillers and neuromodulators like Botox and different light energy-based treatments, sure. They don't all need facelifts. I'm showing you patients that have had facelifts.
Oh no, I'm saying after a facelift.
Afterwards. Oh, well, sometimes they need something and sometimes they don't need anything for a long time. We'll see. The idea is...
Just numbed your patient for you.
Oh, thank you.
Okay, okay.
Okay,
Sorry,
now
I'm
this
all
is
saying
another
that.
patient who,
Yes.
in her 60s who had her eyelids, her upper eyelids were so heavy, you can see that she needed to lift her eyebrows up all the time in order to, where am I here? Her eyebrows are so high there, just to see. Plus she had around her mouth this very unfortunate deep furrowing and small lips. So I did a facelift on her, I did her upper lids, and her eyebrows have returned to a normal position now. And then I plumped up her lips with those spasographs, and I did a peel around the mouth as well. You know, she's still got a few little lines here, but you know, she looks terrific.
People think when they do get a facelift that every line is going to be gone because they look in the mirror and they pull their face back, and I say, please don't do that. Which that's not the way it looks. Dr. Leaf does not stretch the skin. Most of his work is undermining work, and that's the scariest part, isn't it?
Well, it's where you can get in trouble if you don't know what you're doing, yeah. Fortunately, I haven't gotten into any trouble with it yet.
Yes.
But yes, the worst part of then when you see a person on the street who obviously has a facelift, or in People magazine or Us or one, and it's a terrible job. It is a terrible job. Their skin has been pulled tight, and that's not how you do a facelift. You tighten the deep structures and sometimes plump it up with more fat or filler, and then the skin just redrapes over the tightened structure. It's like making a bed. If you have a bunch of crumpled up sheets under the blanket, no matter how tight you pull the blanket, it's not going to look good. But if you pull the sheets taut first, then the blanket can just drape without.
I love that explanation.
It's a good
Yeah.
I
analogy.
use that all the time. I love it.
That was a good one.
Okay, and now here is what we would call an extreme makeover. I did her nose, her face, her brow, her eyelids, and I plumped up her lips, and I did a laser treatment. And this is a year and a half afterwards.
Wow.
It's almost a different person, but I mean, she still looks the same to her.
What kind of laser treatment? Like
That was a
CO2?
CO2 fractionated, yeah.
That really helps.
That-
with-
Yeah,
Yes.
those fine lines you see here, we can't really improve that very much with just a facelift, because those are etched into the skin. And surely it looks a little better when we do it, but to really get at it, you got to do something to the texture of the skin, and that's where the laser comes in. It's, you know, I was very frightened of the laser for the first 10 years that came out, because I saw so many people who had been burned and who had no pigment left on their face afterwards. But then when the fractionated laser came out about 15 years ago, that keeps the pigment because it doesn't burn off all the skin. It burns tiny little holes in the skin very close together. But what's exciting about that is that the space between the cells, between the burns, is not burned. And so the pigment cells are in there, and they can repopulate the skin with the normal pigment. Now, here's a woman that I did everything on. I didn't do her brow, she didn't need it, nor did I do her lips. But I'm showing you this because she is a 3-week post-op only. I mean, all these other pictures have been much longer than that. And usually I tell patients that they should be presentable within 2 weeks. Now, presentable is a good word. I always think of it in quotation marks because, you know, they don't look perfect, but they look good enough to be back in social activity or back at work. And once I had a famous soap opera actress who went on Regis and Kathy Lee, this was about 20 years ago, and told everybody she was going to have a facelift because she said, unless I tell everybody, I'm going to back out. So she told everybody, and they said, well, come on and show us afterwards. She said, okay, I'll come back in 2 weeks. Anyway, so the day of surgery, we walk into the operating room, and she says, you know, I'm going back on the show in 2 weeks. I said, 2 weeks? Come on. She says, well, you said I'd be presentable in 2 weeks. Well, presentable, yeah, but live national TV? Well, she went on, and there was a big drum roll and a big reveal, and she looked terrific. And she mentioned my name then, and my life changed instantly.
Wow. You can't even see her scars.
No.
3
no.
weeks.
There is a scar. The scar's got to be hidden, and the scar, it's in the hair here where you don't see it, and then it comes down right here and goes inside the ear here, so you don't see it. Then it comes around. This is the only part that's potentially visible, right there for the earlobe. But usually, and then we go behind the ear, back up into the scalp, and then back like that. So this is the long scar, the full facelift I'm talking about. But I'm going to show you some pictures of short scar facelifts also. This is a woman who had a very high forehead, but I needed to lift her brows. So I did an incision right at the hairline here, and I actually removed a little strip of forehead. So the hairline came down. Oops. The hairline came down a little. Plus, I did her face and lips and everything else.
You also did fat grafting.
No, I didn't actually.
Wow.
Yeah.
Her cheeks
No.
are.
They look
That's
fuller.
you see, because they do. The spaz, lifting the spaz up lifts the fat up. The fat that's down in the cheeks here, where am I? Right here, gets pulled back to where it should have been, which is back up here. So sometimes you don't need a fat graft, but you know, I do a lot more of them now. Now this is a young woman. She came in from Paris and she was in late 40s, and I sent her home. I said, I don't think you have enough of a situation that I can improve it enough to make it worth your while. So she went back to Paris. She came back a year later and said, I really want to do this now. So I did it. I did a full facelift and eyelids, upper and lower lids on her. And here's 6 months post-op. She looks terrific.
And she still looks terrific.
Yeah, she does.
Saw her recently.
Now this is a young woman of 43, and I did what's called a short scar lift with a little liposuction in the neck and her eyelids. And here is her post-op picture, 5 months.
Oh, wow.
And
I
here,
had no idea you
here
could
is
do
a semi-profiled, and here is her post-op. You know, so she looks. You know, you can do a lot with people if they. I have to the age is not the thing I look at. I look at the face, and then I can decide if I can make enough of an improvement to make it worth their while. And here's a woman, 48, and I just did a short scar facelift on her. And here she is a couple of months later.
That's very.
And now here's a woman who I previously might have sent home to lose weight because she was pretty overweight. But she said, you know, Dr. Leaf, I've been at this weight for about 15 years now. It ain't gonna go away. What can you do? So I said, okay, let's do it. So I did a regular facelift on her, and she was Asian and descent, so I did an upper lid surgery with what's called supratarsal fixation, which creates a lid fold in the upper lid. And here she is post-op,
Oh wow.
and here she is before and post-op. I mean, she's still, you know, a little rotund, but she looks beautiful.
She looks stunning.
Yeah. Thank you.
She looks stunning.
Now, when you get to older patients, you have to have realistic expectations. Here's a 74-year-old woman who I did a face and I did her neck and her eyelids. And I had to, you know, I advise them they may need a secondary procedure if they're really loose. But she did fine, and here she is 6 months post-op. Now here's a 78-year-old woman, and the pre-op is on the top, obviously. And I did her face and neck and her upper and lower lids, and I actually put a little chin implant in her
I was
to
gonna
give a
say,
little more of a chin. In fact, I probably could have been a little more
A little bit
aggressive
more.
with that, yeah.
but it looks
She looks
good.
terrific. Yeah.
It looks really good.
Now this is an interesting patient. This is a woman who was an ex-model, and she came in and I did everything on her. Did brow lift, eyelids, lip augmentation, and here she is before, and the day after surgery. It goes by pretty quickly. And she took day-by-day selfies and gave us permission to show them. Unfortunately, her count is off by 1 day. This is really this is the 4th day now. The laser, you can see her skin's a little pigmented. That's from the laser treatment. It's not healed yet.
Oh.
And you can see I did her chest too, so that's a little brownish.
Mm-hmm.
Now this is a week.
Oh, she looks so good.
Her skin is just getting better and better.
Yes. All of the underlying pigmentation, the lines.
Blend it in nicely.
It's yes.
Oh, she looks beautiful.
It
All
looks
the-
porcelain in the photo.
These are all different lighting because she's in her car, she's in her bathroom, she's in her kitchen.
I
This
And
is
here's
with
2
little
weeks.
bit of makeup.
Now this is
Yeah.
definitely presentable.
Yes.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Admittedly, she did very little bruising, and some people do more bruising than that.
She looks terrific.
Now getting to men.
Oh.
Men, it's much more important that they're natural, they have a subtle improvement, and that's extremely important. Men are not used to artifice on their face. They don't do makeup usually. Some do, of course, but they have to look like regular guys. Now here's a 62-year-old here, 6 months post-op. I did a SMAS facelift on him. I did a neck lift, upper and lower lids, and in his case, I also did a chin implant. But it's important to notice the scar is inside the ear here.
Invisible.
It is.
There it's present, but then it goes into the ear
Oh, there it
and
is.
around, and then it
Yeah,
goes
yeah,
in the
yeah.
crease behind the ear, and then back into the hair here. But once again, they have to look real. They have to look natural. This is a 54-year-old man. I did a SMAS facelift and upper lids, and here's a 2-year follow-up. Now, he really turned out really well. But you know, there's a little trick I suggest to men when I do a facelift on them. I suggest that they grow a beard. Don't shave for about 3 or 4 weeks afterwards. And so when they go back to work or to start visiting friends, people see they're growing a beard, and that's all they'll notice because it's really scruffy at that time. I can attest to that from personal experience. And so if they keep it on for about, a month, 6 weeks, and then they shave it off, and everyone says, you look 10 years younger without that beard. It works.
Yeah.
Can't use it for women most of the time either. Now here's a 3-week post-op view of a man. I just did the short scar lift on him. He didn't want his neck done, and I did his eyelids. His neck could be better, but we didn't do it. But this is only 3 weeks post-op, and he clearly is ready to be out in public.
Oh,
Now,
wow.
not everybody needs
That's
a facelift. Now, all this
amazing.
man needed was his eyelids, and I just did his upper and lower lids, and he looks like he's 20 years younger without those bags.
That isn't.
Wow.
That's
And sometimes they don't need surgery. Sometimes we can get by with a little filler, and Lucy knows this very well. Just filling in that what's called the tear trough,
What's
which is right here, with either Juvederm or any of the things.
Restylane,
And here's another
Juvederm.
one. There's 1 cc of Juvederm beneath each eyelid. This is 3 months follow-up.
That looks great.
So what's up, guys? Any questions?
I
Oh
mean,
my goodness.
well, speaking of men, I think it's relevant for each case. Does it matter the way you kind of pull the smaz, men versus women?
No, basically the pull is the same. Now, the smaz in the cheeks is pretty much a vertical pull, like that. And the skin also gets pulled back a little, not pulled, but reoriented back. The neck, it's mostly back, but a little up. But when you do the smaz, I can demonstrate on my face because I have a lot of, I could use one. When you do the smaz lift, the vertical, it helps the neck as well when you really undermine there and get down there. But usually we have to do the neck separately. And, but it's the same with women. And nowadays, I'm doing a different thing on the neck because slender women who have these deep cords,
Yes.
and everybody gets them if they have a thin neck. The lifts we were doing on the face and neck did not address those as directly as they should have been, and they were one of the reasons that people were unhappy with the cords. But there's a new procedure where we actually are transecting part of that muscle from the side. That's called a platysma muscle. It goes up like this to the neck, and it really serves no useful purpose. It's a remnant of the muscle that is under the skin of like horses. They can flick off in the flies.
Oh.
And that's about it. It doesn't have much. We can cut that with impunity, is what I'm saying. And then we pull it up, and the neck becomes very smooth and nice. And we get rid of the cords. That's the best way of getting rid of the cords now.
Every woman,
Every
men now too, but every woman. Who was it that wrote "I Hate My Neck"?
Nora Ephron.
Nora
Yeah.
Ephron, great book. Well, thank you so
Thank you.
much.
Welcome.
If I
I
hadn't
mean, they
got,
were phenomenal. Some of them
it's
thought
amazing.
had fat grafting,
And if
but
we
it was-
could have every before and after of people that obviously don't want to be seen, then it would be amazing. But he has a lot of celebrity
Yeah,
clientele.
one of the things that I'm really committed to is keeping people's privacy.
Yes.
There's no law
Very
made in the
important.
country that a person has to tell the truth about their face.
Well, and sometimes I'll go to functions or parties because you're known all over the world. I'll go to functions or parties and I'll see people. And I want to go, hi! And I cannot until they come and say hi to me.
Well, I've been that way for years.
Right?
Once, many years ago, I was in the old Spago, which was a hangout, we were all there. And an Academy Award winning actress is sitting there at the table, and I had to walk by her, and she said, Norman, get over here. How do I look? And she does that.
Yeah.
And I said, come on, don't worry about it.
Yeah, some people don't mind at all.
No.
And then and always, I have to say, I don't think there's a time when it hasn't. There was one time in particular I'm thinking about, and there were so many people in the room, and we all chatted at the end of it. Everybody was comparing, everybody was talking. It was so funny.
I had a very funny experience last fall. I was in Paris for a couple of days with my then girlfriend, now wife, and we went out to dinner with a couple of patients of mine who lived there, one of whom you saw on this picture. And we were at this wonderful restaurant, and 3 women were sitting on the banquette, and the guys were sitting across. And a woman at the next table with me said, "You are so lucky to be sitting with such beautiful women, such young women," she said. And they all started laughing, and they all pointed at me at the same time.
It's so funny.
It was
Hi, Carol.
Yeah.
Had to do that. Hi. All right. So that was very cool. Did you learn a lot?
Yes.
I learned a lot.
Yeah. Now you have been working with Dr. Leaf for
years.
20 years, 18 years?
18 years.
And so you take care of his patients pre and post-op with oxygen treatments, cleaning up, with the CO2 laser, you do the vinegar wash, and you're basically there to help them.
Dr. Leaf likes to always start his surgery on the squeaky clean skin. So he always encourages his patient to get a complimentary facial, so I can go over with their skincare needs, make sure that they don't have any, you know, dead skin cells, and they heal faster if the skin is
Absolutely.
up
Yeah,
beforehand.
it's best condition.
Yeah, it's best condition, and they stop their irritating products, retin-A, and make sure that everything goes smoothly. Then they have a surgery, then we see them right after, the day after, if they have a laser, and you know, till they are happy with the result. So
yeah, the best thing is when about a week afterwards, when the laser is almost completely flaked off, we send them over to Maya, and she cleans, and they come up glowing.
They do.
They're just great.
And
it makes me feel good, like I did all the work. And actually,
it's Dr. Leaf, but they're like, oh, Maya, thank you so much.
I'll give her credit.
I know, Leaf. Maya's amazing.
Yes.
That's so funny.
It's very rewarding and makes his work so much better and the result nicer, I think. So
and it helps the patients because you give them a vinegar soaked wash, and some patients can do it, some go, what on
and
earth
send them with the proper skincare, because a lot of people, like you said in the beginning, they think that doing nothing, then having facelift will save all their problems with fine lines and wrinkles, and they expect you to give them the best skin. You have to have a good skin to.
That's right. My old mentor said the best results are always in people who really don't need the surgery very much.
Oh, there you go.
That's true.
So.
But I liked it. Forgive me if I missed it, because we've got some patients with Dr. Iman this morning, and Lucy. What you have a slogan, and I love it. Did you already say it when I was gone? That the best plastic surgery is invisible.
Oh yeah.
What is it that you say? I love it.
Yeah, the best plastic surgery is invisible. If you can spot a facelift across the room, it's not really good.
I agree.
So I love that because most of his patients don't know that the other person had a facelift because it doesn't look. They don't have that windswept look, that crazy look. They look like themselves, except younger and fresher. Well, that was great. I love everything to do with all of that. So what I want to touch on right now for just a second is giveaways. Everybody loves a giveaway, and as I promised last week, we are starting with our giveaways. Now, Lemieux is one of our lines that we love to carry. We've been carrying Lemieux for a long, long time. 10 years. They are a wonderful, wonderful company. They always participate in events that we do. Their skincare, we all use it. We love it. We all have our favorites for all our lines. We really only carry lines, and the few SKUs that we do like, we don't carry the whole line. We're not a flagship for any particular line. We like what we like, and we sell what works. So we like medical grade ingredients in our skincare. So Lemieux contacted us and asked if they could give us some giveaways. So we have 3 sets like this. One is for dry skin, one is for normal skin, and one is for oily skin. These are full-size products, and we want to give them to you. Now, what did we decide?
There's a catch.
There's a catch!
There's a catch,
but a fun catch, not a bad catch.
No, they have to mention.
You have to call, so the first 3 people that call after 11:30, we need time to finish what we're doing and see a couple of patients that we have. So by 11:30,
I don't have this product.
This is vitamin C.
That's a vitamin C. It's
fantastic. This is a brightening kit for pigmentation, antioxidant, brightening cleanser, serum, vitamin C serum, and brightening serum.
So they have to call and say what?
They have to call at 11:30 and say,
Brentwood
Beauty Buzz. That's it. That's the catch. So it's a good catch. It's an easy catch.
The first caller
3. We have 3 sets.
Oh, 3 callers.
So
okay.
3 callers after 11:30. Say Brentwood Beauty Buzz.
Does
That's
people
all you
use
have
it?
to say. Brentwood Beauty Buzz.
And we
that
mention
is
the
yours.
winner next week.
This
Yes.
will be really good because it's the end of summer and people need to get their
Yeah.
skin back
That's
and
right.
conditioned
Yes.
after all the sun
Mhm.
exposure.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
But they can use it all year long.
They can. They can.
Just
So
use them.
we've had a good morning. Anything, you
Busy
guys?
morning.
You have people that are numbing that I went to numb for you. You're welcome.
Thank you.
So
And
hurry.
Dr. Iman seeing patients. I was running back and forth going, I'll be right with you. Oh, how much is that? Oh, yes, I've got that. I could do it all. I'm sweating, but I could do it all.
And Lauren, it's
Yeah. And so you've got a busy day. You're going to be doing thread lifting soon.
I am?
Yes, you
I
are
am.
getting, you are getting
I am?
lessons. Dr. Armstrong learned how to do it. She went to a class with someone from South Korea.
wow.
Yes, and it's amazing. We'll post some of Dr. Armstrong's trainings. It's amazing.
Wow,
You
thank
are
you.
going to learn.
I'm so
Dr.
excited.
Iman's actually
I'm
going
so
to
excited.
South Korea.
You're so excited?
Best thing
I'm
ever.
excited.
We want
I'm-
strings
I'm more
everywhere.
excited.
We
You
want
wanna-
threads everywhere. Put them all over our bodies.
Oh my God.
But you're going to be learning. So,
Thank you.
Dr. Armstrong is seeing patients in Brentwood every Thursday of September. So on Thursdays, if you'd like to have thread lifting, you can call us, make an appointment. We'd love to make that appointment for you. And also Lucy will be learning, so you've already done
When?
some things.
Exactly.
And you know what you're
Which
doing.
date am I training?
I'm gonna let you know.
Soon.
Yeah, it's next Friday.
Oh,
So-
I didn't know.
So it's very exciting.
know.
I'm so happy. I can't wait to know what that's all about. So you have people that want to
Oh
come
my
in.
God, yes, a lot of people are asking me if we're doing.
Yeah.
And the other thing is the new method of microneedling. People are asking.
We
me.
got a new gun.
Yeah,
ProSil.
It's fantastic.
microneedling
We needed
for
something for the
all over
body.
Yeah, it's for the body.
Tell
It's
us
a
about
larger
it.
head. It contains about 36 needles, and it shoots 9,500 what are they called?
Puncture.
Punctures or
punctures.
Where is it?
where?
Let me get it. We've
Please.
got 3 minutes.
I need to learn more
Where is
about
it?
it, but I
I'm
know
getting
it
it.
comes
I'm
with
getting
stem cells.
Traditional,
It's like
microneedle.
traditional microneedling, but it's much faster. It actually causes more injuries to the skin, so it does help resurface the skin.
Injuries
more
in a
so.
good way.
In a good way. In a
Yeah.
good way. So
Stamping.
it's not so much like stamping. It is kind of like stamping, but it's really how do I explain
It's
that?
essentially like a tattoo gun.
Ta-da!
without ink.
Well, it's like a tattoo gun.
But not
It's
with
so
no ink.
cool. We were just
It's
all
so
over this
cool. The
thing.
head is not attached. But can you imagine this?
Dun-dun,
Okay.
dun-dun.
Yes.
Can you imagine? Let me see if I can
You
turn
can
it
do
on.
your arms. You can.
No,
do
it's
your-
really loud. It goes really
tummy.
fast.
Does it hurt?
No, it actually hurts less than the standard microneedling device.
Yeah, and it's fast
And
because
it's
all
very
the needles
fast.
are pushing in right at. You don't have to do it. It's just
No.
da-dum, 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 right?
Yeah, you just kind of hold it and it works. It does the job for you.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's the pace that you use it.
So
That's what
stretch
matters.
marks, tummies, thighs, knees. This
Texture
can
arms.
be used anywhere. The texture on your arms here and here. This gun can be used
How about the
anywhere.
décolletage?
Yes.
Yeah, you
yes,
can do that.
you
There
can
is a
use it
head.
on-
There is one for the face and neck. It's really exciting. So that's that. That's good news. We've got tons more. Half an hour isn't long enough,
No,
is it?
it's not. I
Um,
love the suitcase.
I know,
I do
me
like
too.
it.
It's cute.
I have
So
to. I
thank
need
you
the
very
head.
much, Dr. Leaf,
Oh, it's my pleasure.
for coming on our little show today.
Always
Really
happy to be here.
appreciate that.
Oh,
We'd have
well,
to have you on again, talk about other
We
things.
can talk about other things.
Yeah.
We do other things.
Thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate the fact that you do make your comments and do participate and say hi and give us encouragement, because like I said, these are your providers and I want to bring them to you every week for half an hour so that you can ask your questions, win free goodies, and just have a good time with us. So from all of us here, don't forget 310-312-1231, 310-312-1231. and call after 11:30 for your goodies. That's us. We're out of time. 5 seconds to
Ciao.
spare.
Thank
Bye,
you.
everybody.
Thank
Thank you from Brentwood Beauty Buzz. See you next week.